Welcome, everyone. Welcome to the premier service
Bye-bye,
organization in
Rupert.
the Roanoke Valley. I'm Michael
Bye-bye.
Ruppert. It's a pleasure to have you here today. It's a
Well,
pleasure to
Brad
have our Zoomers
Jr.
here today. A couple of important announcements. In fact, everything I say today is going to be important, so pay attention. It's something when you laugh at your own jokes, isn't it? Okay, listen, your Kiwanis board took an action on Monday that I want you to know about. We officially approved 2 new members into our club. When I read their names, every one of you is going to applaud appreciatively. All right. Fred Jeter, who is here today. What? And let this be a lesson to you. Sheon Baker, who was with us for the past couple of years as a member, as she left the club because of work reasons, she lined up a new member, and that member is Maritza Steele. We're going to congratulate her for joining. All right, we got a couple get well cards that are being passed around. Pay attention to this one. Sheila Umberger is out for a couple of weeks, so that's semi-serious. Lee Osborne's got the dreaded, C word. And just last night, I don't know what happened, but I spent the evening in the emergency room with my wife. So there's a card coming around for her. Really. All right, Sherman Lee, you're going to come up and do the introspection, please. And Jim Reynolds, you're going to follow him with the pledge.
Good afternoon, everybody. I'm going to read something that Charles Dickens wrote, and I think it's very appropriate for this time of year. It says, reflect upon your present blessing, of which every man has many, not on your past misfortunes, of which all men have some. I wanted to tie this in with the Thanksgiving season and being thankful for the blessings and things that we do have in life. Instead of thinking about past mistakes or misfortunes or failures, think about those blessings that we have as we go into this holiday season. And we look around our world and see there's a lot of strife, there's a lot of hatred. In our country, there's a lot of divisiveness. But all of you, in some capacity, you are a leader. In your families, in your community, people look at you. And I would encourage you today to show that, I may have issues, but I'm blessed. And we're thankful for what we do have. God bless you. Thank you.
Looking at the flag. Please join me in pledge allegiance to our flag. Republic which stands one nation, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Please be seated. Thank you, Mary Lee. Thank you, Jim. We're going to do a different kind of president's message today. And this is a rather uplifting message, I think. So this message is about some of our club members who volunteer their time. I think those are special people. And they're deserving of our appreciation. And the club members I'm going to call attention to today are our new board members and our officers I mentioned we all met earlier this week. What I didn't mention is that I'm going to focus for a few minutes on what these volunteers do for the benefit of our club. First, I want you to know who they are. You all have a weekly agenda on your tables. Down the left-hand column is the name of every one of these officers and board members that are serving to move our club forward. They're the people that drive this bus that you see on the screen. This is the Kiwanis bus. Beyond looking at your agendas, you could actually go on the website and see photographs of these people, together with their names, their positions, and their terms of service. And even better than that, I'm going to ask each of the board members and officers right now to stand for a moment. Right now, please. Current board members and officers, please stand. Please stand. That's it. Thank you. Thank you. Please be seated. That's the least we can do to thank them for their time. So what do they do? What do they do? What do the people on the board do? Because not all boards are created equal. Many of you in this room know that. You're on many boards. I have been as well. Some boards you're on because of your checkbook. Some you're on because of your Rolodex. Well, others are on because of prestige. That's not how we roll here in Kiwanis. We have an operations board. This board actually runs the club. They drive the bus. So they've been driving for 100 years. We've been going along pretty well. And this is one of those buses where it's more about the journey than the destination. So we have me, president, we got president-elect, vice president, we got past president, we got all the members of the board of directors, and we have the president of the Kiwanis Foundation. And you know what, at those board meetings, everybody gets an equal vote. As president, my vote is the same as everyone else's, and I quite like that. So, I want to remind you where the bus is going. Bus is going toward the theme I've been talking to you about every week, week in and week out. And that theme is outreach. Thank you very much. Oh gosh, I'm back up here. No, I'm not. I'm going to have Andre come up here. You're introducing guests.
Good afternoon. I'm Andre Brooks. I'm past president, and today I was the greeter. It's my privilege to welcome all of you here, especially our guests. We have a number of guests today. Joe Gaither has invited two guests. So Joe, as the host, would you please stand? And I'll ask that the guests stand as well. And after I introduce everyone, we will welcome them without applause. Stacy Boris with Straight Street. Keith Farmer with Straight Street. Jill Sluss has two guests as well. Linda Hetzel with Family Service Roanoke Valley, and Rayanne Price with Family Service Roanoke Valley. With the Grand Theater, Don Wilson is hosting Ian Fortier. And Rupert Cutler, is Rupert on?
Yes, he is.
Zoom? Good. His guest is Stephen Ndemeka. Sorry, I know I mispronounced your name and I apologize. And also our guest speaker today is Richmond Finch, and his host is Joe Bandy. So welcome all of our guests. We appreciate you being here and hope that you we have found this a group that might be for you. I'm sure we can talk about the process of joining. Thank you again.
Thank you, Andrea. And I'll just add, I've been courtesied on a couple emails yesterday and this morning. Thanks to Reuben Cutler, one of these guests that you just had introduced to you says they're thinking about the possibility of joining this club. Would you stand up, please? Now we're going to give them more room. My personal commitment to you is if you join the club, we will give you applause every Wednesday. Bob Haberman does a phenomenal job running our grants program. Every year he takes a large group of Kiwanis volunteers. Those group of volunteers, he guides them through the process to read a considerable number of grant applications. And then they down select and decide the grant applications that are best fits for this club. And we give out a considerable number of grants because we draw in a considerable amount of money. And every dollar we draw in, we turn around and give away. So Bob's not here today, so I'm going to have the privilege of getting this grant situation going. We're going to start with family services. I'll ask either one or all three of you to come up as you decide now. And what we're going to do is we're going to ask the sponsor of this grant, and I believe that's you, Jill, to say a few words about why you felt this was a worthwhile organization. And then whoever you choose can say a few words about what the money is going to be used for. All right, thank you.
Thank you, President Mike. Well, as most of you all know, I'm with Family Service Roanoke Valley, Chief Development Officer there. And we serve actually over 2,000 individuals annually who are going through a mental health challenge. We're right on the street, just 2 doors down from the police department. And the history of this club supporting us dates back to 1992. So we are so grateful for the continued support. And to tell you more about how this funding is going to be used is our wonderful President and CEO, Linda Henschel. And I also want to thank Brianna Price, who is our brilliant grant writer. Thank you, Brianna.
Thanks, Jill. I stand before you today profoundly appreciative of the Kiwanis Club and your dedication to meeting needs in the community. Similarly, Family Service of the Roanoke Valley is also interested in meeting unmet needs in the community. And for over 120 years, we have supported individuals and families as they have journeyed toward emotional well-being, healthy relationships, and futures filled with hope, even when finances might have been in the way of receiving the services they needed. This also reaches older adults in our community. As people reach the latter years of their life, unique needs develop. People who were once supportive and support systems are unable to provide that same level of support because of growing needs in their own lives, both emotionally and physically. Health declining often leads to the loss of those significant people. The funds that you are willing to provide to Family Service enables us to provide counseling services to older adults who are in need of that person to be able to help make that connection. We are uniquely designed to be able to reach older adults to help them with emotional and mental health issues, to help be a companion and support during a time when many of the people they have felt closest to in their lives are no longer available to be able to provide that support. We are incredibly grateful for the shared vision Kiwanis has with Family Service in taking care of our precious senior adults in this way, and to be able to provide ongoing support in a way that will meet their emotional and mental health needs and overall well-being of their life. Thank you so much.
So it's my pleasure, I'm going to hand you a check Don's gonna take your photograph. You're gonna smile appreciatively for the photograph. But wait, there's more. It turns out that this bus driving that I told you about earlier, this board of directors bus driving, resulted in a decision this past Monday. It's a decision we've made on board meetings before, and that's the decision to support Family Service of Roanoke Valley Grand Angel Tree Project. And it's because of that, we're handing you another check. So, speaking of checks, we've got one more grant presentation to make. Don, you'll start us off?
Thank you, President Mike. It's my privilege to introduce Ian Fortier, the President and Executive Director of the Grandin Theater, a real gem in our community. And I'm pleased to sponsor the grant that the Grandin Theater Foundation is going to get today. But before I turn it over to Ian, I want to thank you, Ian, for several years, and the Grandin Theater has been showing a Charlie Brown Christmas following the Grandin Village Children's Parade, Christmas Parade, which is taking place this Saturday at 11 o'clock. You can still sign up your group to come in the parade. Mayor Lee, I got word that you're coming and looking forward to seeing you. But immediately after the parade at 11 or at noon, Charlie Brown Christmas is going to be shown on the Grandin Theater main stage for free. And if you don't go to the Grandin to see that movie, you can come over to Cardinal Bicycle. We're going to have an after party there behind Cardinal. So thanks to Ian and the Grandin Theater.
Thank you, Dawn and Kiwanis Club. I don't have a prepared speech because those of you who know me know that I sort of shoot from the hip. That's kind of been my style that I've developed over the years. It works for me. Tucked over in Southwest City Village is one of the most, and I'm biased saying this, but one of the most remarkable youth education programs that we have in the region. In its 8th year, starting in August, the Grandin Theater Film Lab is an after-school filmmaking program for high school age kids. It is not a movie club. They do not watch popcorn, talk about it. For the last 7 years, we stick cameras in their hands, audio equipment in their hands, boom mics, lighting, editing computers. From day one, they're writing scripts, they're casting people from outside the club, and they're creating films that go out into the world. The original intention when this program was envisioned in 2016 was that we could create a film that we could send to the Virginia High School Film Festival in Henrico County every year, and that we might be able to get something recognized by the country. That was the height of our thought. Since then, we've never been accepted to the Virginia High School Film Festival. We've also never been accepted to the Virginia Film Festival, which takes place in Charlottesville, which is ironic because those were our intentions for our hometown, sort of state-based teenage program. We have, however, been accepted to over 50 film festivals across the United States and worldwide, including winning 14 Student Emmy Awards from the National Academy of Television Sciences, 4 of which came in 2 weeks ago for class. Maybe. To wrap it up, I'll let you know that this program, if you haven't heard me say it before, this program is the bridge between an 8th grader in our region and that 8th grader's interest in going on to study filmmaking, commercial production at the collegiate level, or going into the business in the industry of filmmaking. Without the Grandin Theater Film Lab, that 8th grader has nowhere to go. And so we consider ourselves as the bridge between that interest in a young mind and their ability to study at a higher level. We've put over a dozen kids in college. We currently have 1 graduate University of Southern California Film School of May, which is widely regarded as the best film school in the world, and we have 6 graduates in this program. This is an enormously powerful program for youth. We're very grateful for the Kiwanis Club. Without you, we don't have the ability to recycle for equipment that they can use to help us with operational support, generally take care of these kids. So we want to make sure that grant money goes to making sure that there's never an obstacle with their creative idea of what. And for that, we are deeply thankful. And I thank you very much for being here. I have a question. If I wait a little bit while longer, is there a second check? On the screen?
Yeah. Let's move over here for the photograph. One check. Up here behind this microphone, giving us a full-length presentation a year or two ago.
Yes.
And apparently we were so impressed that we offered you the opportunity to apply for a grant. Do I recall correctly that we responded favorably a year ago?
2 years. This is the third year.
Third year.
This club has supported this program.
Outstanding. Thank you.
And I'll ask again next year.
I'm going to do the announcements. Again, I thank the people that forwarded me material. I'm probably not going to read every word you forwarded to me, but I will do my best to do justice to the important things you've told me to say. And the important things begin with last week. Okay? Our fund committee met last Wednesday, immediately following a club meeting, and they have planned a very energetic year. Lois James and Emily Bailey have brainstormed enough activities so that we'll be able to enjoy at least one a month. Now, Fund Committee is the committee that we look to help us do things that do not cause us to raise money. This is strictly fun. So, it's a golden opportunity for you to invite your friends and neighbors to one or more of our fun events. Because as exciting as it is to attend a weekly club meeting and listen to the president's message, it's even more fun to come to one of their events. All right? Membership committee met last Thursday. Harry Zuloff is now chairing that committee. He's got the benefit of former chair Lois James on his committee. And they are moving out smartly with a written plan to achieve the following goal. Develop a culture of membership in our club. Stay tuned. We're going to have a bunch of ideas, some of which might actually be fun. See previous comment. Let's see, KPAD, speaking of fun. Jean Bollendorf is rolling us through that success earlier this year. She had several of us over at the stock market at a Kiwanis booth. What were we selling? We were selling KPAD tickets, of course. We were selling Christmas ornaments, which you'll have the opportunity to buy. And we were selling ourselves. So there were approximately 982,000 women that passed by that booth. I can tell you firsthand, I engaged as many as I could, so did every one of Jean's recruits. According to Jean, we achieved a gross revenue of $362, which is not bad. More importantly, though, there are half a dozen of those people that approached us not to buy something, but to ask about joining our club. And you know what we call that? Oh, God, you're wonderful people. Thank you. I have a list of names, which I'll read. Lori Baker, I believe, is on Zoom. Thank you. Jean, Eric Danielson, David Farnham, Jenny Lee, Mike McAvoy, Peg McGuire, Joyce Montgomery, myself, Joyce Waugh, who had laryngitis. laryngitis, and she's still selling stuff. Good for her. Now, sign up for the next booth. That'll be at the Holiday Craft Show at the Berglund Center, December 2 and 3. All right, moving on. Also last week, the Nature Park met. Sherry Hoffman, Lou Cutler, Don Witt had a big, exciting time because Larry the Log Perch book, which has been in development for about a year, is about ready to be released. You show up here in 2 weeks to this club meeting, the entire program will be dedicated to that nature park project. And while they are talking about the nature park, they'll mention the tie-in with Goodwill. And Richmond said he's going to mention that tie-in when he gets up here today. So that's great. All right, nature park. Adult Care Thanksgiving. Don Chichester. Show up and wear your Kiwanis hats and/or shirts. Show up 11 o'clock-ish. All right, the amount of precision I have on the show up time leaves something to be desired. So, ish. Larry Kubel. He wants me to read this full-page ad for the Elf musical. I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to read the whole ad. Larry, how many people are signed up right now? 73. 73 people are currently signed up, and they're signed up to have a nice social evening with hors d'oeuvres, alcohol, and a first-class Broadway show. 70. How many more slots can we accomplish? Only 88 seats. All right, they are going fast. So 73, 88. Do the math. Sign up. Even better, you bring a non-Kiwanis guest. Go figure. All right, Larry, that's the best I can do for you right now. Dickens of a Christmas, ring the bell. December 1, 8, and 15th. Ken Briggs. Do you have sign-up sheets on your table? Are there still open slots? Are there going to be open slots after this meeting? Or are you going to sign up for all those slots? Because we're on the spot. Aren't we? Thank you. West End Party, Lois James. She's doing it again. Thank God she did not ask me to put on a Santa hat for this announcement. We're shopping, we're wrapping, and we're having a Christmas party. All the dates are on the website. Last thing, Andre Brooks, bring your calendars. VA, they appreciate it. By the way, when are we shopping for the West End Christmas shopping? That's right, December 9th. So meet up over at, come on, you read the announcement, didn't you? Walmart. Come on, all right, good. Have I missed anything that I need to address? Thank goodness. All right, for the people that did not pay full attention when I announced it, I'll repeat it again. December 1, 8, and 15. December 1 in particular could benefit from volunteering. Betsy, you ought to take a look at those sheets and perhaps volunteer. Thank you. All right. Was any of that interesting or funny?
Yes.
Okay, good. All right, now this is going to be serious. For the second time in the history of the world, this has only happened once before. For the second time in the history of the world, I'm going to award an outreach award. You know, this is pretty good. Now, every week I am going to get up here and talk about outreach, but really what I'm most interested in is having you act on the theme of outreach. I'm trying to encourage you to act, to reach out and increase the visibility of our community, of our club and our community. And a perfect example of what that looks like is this week's winner of the Outreach Award. Sherry Hartman, would you come up here, please? And let's start clapping now. When I was thinking about the theme and I was thinking about outreach, Sherry's image came into my mind, because for years, what she does and how she does it embodies outreach. And most recently, when you held a cleanup, half of the people for your cleanup were from outside the club. That's just fantastic. That's the definition of outreach. So I have for you 2 items. It's okay. Come over here, Don. The outreach ribbon.
Show it.
Oh, all right.
There we go.
Hold it, you get, I got, wait a minute. And the outreach pin goes on the ribbon. That little red speck is, it's okay. Now hold that up so Don can see.
All right, here we go. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. I just asked permission to sneak in a couple of rapid fire brags while I'm up here if I could. I think somebody deserves a brag who gets us laughing with no intention to be funny. And that would be the ho 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 king. You should wear a Santa Claus hat. Mike Obraka, President Mike. We are thoroughly presidential style. I also want to give a brag on David Hartman, who has 4 new legs and 2 new eyes in the form of Teddy, and is managing Teddy, and Teddy's managing him. That fire brags. Don, I have a lot of money I'm gonna owe you. I need to brag on Don Witt, who is embarking on trail construction at the Kiwanis Park this week, tomorrow. And this has been quite a process. Kudos to Don for hanging in there through all that. And the group linked me up with potential prospective funder for the Kiwanis Nature Park recently. We will share more about that at another time. And finally, a brag on our speaker today, Richmond Vincent. I got to go to his groundbreaking yesterday. Very inspiring event. The mayor was there as well. So as we grow our nature park, we're going to be growing amazing things at Goodwill, and you'll learn more about that today. Thank you.
More programming. While you're coming up here, I'll just mention that every person who brags donates $2 per brag, which goes to our Kiwanis Foundation, which then gets recycled into the grants and what give away. Sherry, I think we put you down for 124. Appreciate that.
Don Wilson again, I want to brag on the city of Roanoke, specifically Laura Riley, who was instrumental in getting the city cemetery cleaned up last week. I drove by one morning and there were 4 or 5 trucks clearing out brush and trash and bodies, I dare say. They cleaned it up in anticipation and preparation for the first annual historic walking tour of the city cemetery. This is a cemetery that you've all seen behind the rescue mission as you've driven down Tazewell. Our first mayor, Trout, is buried there. A lot of notable families and famous folks. Ferdinand Rohr is there. Ferdinand Rohr has 5 streets named for him and his family. Well, actually 4, because they renamed Ernest Street, Norfolk Avenue. So come Sunday afternoon at 2 o'clock. It's a free event. Park along Tazewell, and we hope to see you to hear more about pioneer Roanoke families. Thank you.
It's the end of the bragging. So, Joe, that means it's your turn to get up to the microphone, say something inspiring, and then Richmond will deliver.
Well, as usual, yeah, Sherry beat me to it with the inspirational part. And I do have some prepared remarks for my introduction, because unlike Ian, I find that when I shoot from the hip, I more often than not shoot myself in the foot. So Our guest speaker, Richmond Vincent Jr., serves as president and CEO of Goodwill Industries of the Valleys based in Roanoke, Virginia. In his role, Richmond leads an organization that helps people achieve their fullest potential by empowering individuals, strengthening families, and inspiring communities to ultimately eliminate poverty in Virginia. Goodwill Industries of the Valleys serves over 42,000 Virginians with workforce development programs, and by employing over 1,000 team members in a territory spanning 35 counties and 14 independent cities. Now, when Richmond arrived a few years ago after a nationwide search, he jumped right into the community, and he serves as a Virginia Chamber of Commerce board member, Roanoke Regional Partnership Leadership Council, Roanoke Regional Chamber of Commerce board member, Virginia Tech Carilion School of Medicine Community Engagement Advisory Council, and the Automated Connected Electrified Transportation Cluster Coalition. Try saying that 3 times fast. The Automated Connected Electric, never mind. And prior to joining us here at in Roanoke at Goodwill, Richmond was president and CEO at Goodwill Industries of South Mississippi and its subsidiary, GoodWorks. So it is my pleasure to introduce Richmond Vincent.
Well, good afternoon, everyone.
Afternoon.
Yes. I think I said it again. Good afternoon, everyone. Well, it's a pleasure to be here. You guys are so energetic and so enthusiastic. It's so inspiring. And so thank you for having me here today. And so I'm going to take a few minutes to kind of walk you through just quickly on just giving you a foundational information on the organization. But then I want to get into the really fun stuff in terms of what's going on over at Melrose Plaza. And so you already heard from Joe in terms of our territory, so I won't spend a lot of time there, but we do have a pretty vast territory. There's 2 major Goodwills in the Commonwealth. Our particular Goodwill has the western component of Virginia. So we go as far north as Charlottesville. We come all the way south down to the North Carolina border. We go as far east as Farmville. So trust me, there's a lot of windshield time that we have within our organization, but we enjoy each of the communities that we serve. And as Joe mentioned about the number of team members, 1,000 team members, actually more than that now. So when you think about that, think about if Goodwill was to leave tomorrow, that'd be 1,000 Virginians out of work. 1,000 Virginians. So that shows you the impact of your local Goodwill right here in Rome. In terms of services, I like to say we take a multi-generational approach. So we understand that we have to serve the child, the adult, and the grandparents all at the same time. And many of you know now that many grandparents are taking care of their grandchildren. So it's so important that we do this simultaneously. So our services are constructed to be delivered simultaneously. And so, when we think about Northwest Roanoke, and I know the mayor had to step away, but we take it as an opportunity. Some may see it as a problem, a challenge. We see it as an opportunity. And many of these numbers you're going to see here, you've seen them before. You've seen the poverty rate almost 20%. We all get the alerts, weekly or sometimes bi-weekly about the gun violence. For many of you, you may not know that over 14,000 individuals in Roanoke Valley do not have a high school diploma or a GED. So let me repeat that. 14,000 of our fellow Roanokeans do not have a high school diploma or GED, which makes you wonder, okay, are they really truly connected to career opportunities and upward mobility? And then lastly, and this is the one I'll tell you all, this is really where we got so motivated and realized we had to do something different than we've ever done before and take a big swing. And I thank my board of directors for having that courage to take that big swing along with us. And we have Joe, by the way, is one of our board of directors, and Sheila Umberger, I know, is out healing here. Both were so instrumental in us taking this big swing. But you see this data here. Now, this data is from the Korean Health Assessment, that someone who lives in a 24017 zip code lives 6 years less than someone in 24018. What do we covet the most? Life. And just by the area that you live in, you lose 6 years on your life. And so for us, we realized we got to do something about that. That is unacceptable. That is simply unacceptable. And so we had to do something different than we've ever done before. And so we have been working with this city of Roanoke, and they've had a plan to develop a hub in Northwest Roanoke. And this has been going on for several years. This started back in 2015. And part of that was developing a grocery store. But what I like about the hub concept is it takes all the assets in Northwest Roanoke there and leverages them to improve the community. And so before we got started, and when we first started this project, we got a lot of community input. Because what we didn't want to do is this be about goodwill. Well, this is what Goodwill wants to do, and they're just going to build something and do something because that's what they want to do. And hopefully you will see throughout this presentation, we have been very intentional not to refer to Goodwill, because it's not our project, it is our collective project. But we got input from the Northwest Food Initiative. They were the ones who really started this ball rolling back in 2015, and they've been working on this since then. We got input from focus groups, so community members, we brought them in. We have a couple community members here who've been part of those meetings and providing feedback to our organization, our team members, and then also our board members contribute as well. And so we created some opportunities to get consistent feedback from the Northwest community. So we created the Melrose Plaza Advisory Council. We have a number of other groups that we work with, the neighborhood associations, and then also the churches. And here's just a number and names of the folks who are part of Melrose Plaza Advisory Council. As you can see, a very wide spectrum of organizations who provided feedback on what should be done as part of developing this plaza. And so that should look pretty familiar to you all, right? And so I'll talk about the initiatives within the plaza, but I want to talk about the hub, because the hub's very important. And so you see that next bullet. Now, who can that be? That looks like the Kiwanis and the great work you all have done in that community. You know, I was blessed when I first arrived here back in 2021. I had an opportunity to meet Sherry and her team, and I got a chance to take the photo. Even though I didn't do anything, I just arrived, got a chance to take the photo, but it was amazing. And that park is used so much. There's so much activity in that park and with the library. And we're really excited about the Horton Nature Park. And how do we integrate that into the hub concept? I think it's going to be amazing, and I'm excited. I'm looking forward to its completion. And then also the Feeding Southwest Virginia Community Solutions Center as a part of this hub, the Envision Center, our youth center, and then future development. So if you're familiar with that area, we recently, about several months ago, purchased the corner with Maxie's and the firehouse. And so the goal is to develop that into something that complements the hub. And so we'll be coming out asking for feedback from all of our partners, including Family Services. And Linda, I got your email, so I know I owe you an email response, so I got your email. And so we'll be getting with all our community partners and many of you to say what should be on that corner and what's going to add value and complement all the other assets there. And then for those of you who don't know, behind the Goodwill there's land from 25th all the way to the Envision Center. Goodwill owns that land as well. So that's like a phase 2, goal of what do we do there? How do we develop that? Is it some sort of mixed use? Is it affordable housing? Or is it some other service that would add value to that community? And so let me talk about Melrose Plaza. And so it is going to be a facility that is going to be a destination. It's going to be safe, clean, and vibrant. We're looking to have events there on a regular basis to encourage folks to come out. I hope many of you on a Friday or Saturday night will come to the plaza, enjoy a jazz trio, a speaker, art, those different types of items that's going to encourage you all to go and visit and utilize the services. And we're really going to focus on you, especially the nutrition side. So we're going to do a lot of nutritional activities. I joke around with my kids that, I hated vegetables growing up. And they said, why? Because, my mom, she would cook the carrots until I had to use a spoon. And so you grow up thinking, oh Lord, I don't want carrot soup, right? And so I think when children eat those carrots prepared very well, sauteed, maybe grilled, and they taste how well it is, that would encourage them to want to eat healthy. So pick down the potato chips, pick down the Little Debbie's. Now, and aging myself, because Little Debbie's, I'm not even sure they even offer them anymore, but they were good back in the day. But we want them to begin to eat much more nutritious food. And we'll have access to that food to this plaza. And then here you see, we have key performance indicators. So everything we do in this plaza, we're going to measure it. We're going to make sure that is exactly what the residents and the patrons of this plaza are looking for. And so everything I talk about today, you'll see there's key performance indicators to make sure we're doing the right things. So first, let's talk about the market on Melrose, which is one of the most important aspects of this project, not only for the city, but for this community, is there's already existing food system. We know that. So the point of this market is not to disrupt it, but to complement it. And we're going to be assisted by a national consultant who works with independent grocers, because Goodwill is going to operate the grocery store. Okay. Now, everyone said, well, why didn't you go to Kroger or Food Line? No disrespect, they told us no. They want the whole entire plaza just for the grocery. That wasn't going to work for this particular project. And secondly, no, we're not taking donated food. Everyone assumes, because you got the donated stores, that we're going to bring in donated food. No, that food will still go to the food banks. We will have fresh food direct from the supplier. So we're excited about that. And we're working with LEAP in Feeding Southwest Virginia on how do we do that in a very effective manner. And you can see here, just like you would expect at Kroger or Food Lion, clean, fresh, affordable. And with LEAP shepherds a program called the Virginia Fresh Match that allows folks who are on SNAP benefits to get produce and fruit at 50% of cost, which is outstanding. That's going to really encourage folks to eat, because produce and fruits are expensive. They are very expensive. So we want to make sure that they are affordable. And then here you can see KPIs, improve habits, but also jobs. 66 jobs year one will be created where there are not any jobs. And there will be jobs at family sustaining wages. So we're talking about $18 and above. And they'll have also full benefits. And this is just the organization that's supporting us, gives you a sense of, okay, who is this consultant? Do they really know what they're doing? They do. And they provided all this infrastructure for us to be successful. And we're combining that with our already existing outstanding operation of our current retail stores that we operate throughout Southwest Virginia. The Wellness Center. You can see our partners. We have a list of great partners. And there was some will say, well, Richmond, you got Brilliant Clinic and you got Lewis Gale on the same page. Well, working with both of them, we're going to work together. This is gonna be a collaborative approach. And this particular center is not a clinic. It is not there to duplicate what New Horizons Healthcare is doing or what Korean is doing at their clinic. This is focused on preventative. So a lot with youth and others prior to getting some of these morbidities and those getting more serious. And if they're serious, we're gonna refer them back to the clinic or their primary physician. So there will not be any duplication or competitiveness there. And you can see what the goals are. And most important, highlighted, is we want to see year over year that we're reducing that life expectancy gap. We want to see that be equitable to other areas in the region. We're going to have a banking center, and our partner is going to be Bank of Baratat. They have been an amazing partner. They have been all in since day one, and they are committed to really helping the residents of Northwest. And you can see here, these are the services that they're committed to. So different than your traditional branch, which is more transactional, nothing wrong with the branches, but they're more transactional. This is gonna be more consumer driven, one-on-one, and also one-on-one to small businesses in the region as well. And then we will measure how well we're doing. Are we helping people acquire wealth? That's really important. And I shared this here. So when someone is unbanked, and by the way, I am a reformed banker from years ago. But when you're unbanked, you are paying a tax. When you have poor credit, you are paying a tax. And it just perpetuates the condition of poverty. And so we've got to give folks confidence in the banking system and get them banked. And last, and really important for us here at Goodwill, is an Excel Center. This is an adult high school, focusing on those 25 years and older. And this is going to address those 14,000 individuals who do not have a high school diploma or GED. So they will acquire their high school diploma, but in conjunction with an industry recognized credential. They get both. So it's not just one, you've got to get both. And so by getting an industry recognized credential, that prepares them for employment. And our job will be to get them jobs. That is end game for us as it relates to this high school, is to get them jobs. And we will provide all of the support services to remove all barriers, meaning childcare. Childcare will be complimentary. They'll get bus passes, gas cards, anything that could cause a barrier from them being successful, we'll provide. And so, just to give you a sense of the commitments here, so total project $30 million. You can see that Goodwill is invested $20 million. We've received the $10 million funds from ARPA, and then from a sustainability standpoint, all the revenue generated in this plaza will be reused in the plaza. So none of that will be pulled out of there to support our general operations. We have a sound operations, we have a sound balance sheet. We don't need that. This is strictly for the community, and we'll reinvest that back into the plaza. And then also with philanthropy, we have right now in the middle of a capital campaign to raise $5 million to support the growth of this project. And if any of you are interested, now I know you guys give out a check. I'm not asking for a check, but if you are interested, I would love to talk to you further on how either you as an individual, your organization, or a group of friends could invest in this project, because I think it's very worthwhile. I want to touch on the corporate investment, because people always ask, well, is all the community involved? Yes. These are the corporations who are leading the charge. Many of you know Brett Marston over at Gentry Lock and Kathy Underwood over at Branch Builds. They are leading this campaign, and you can see our cabinet members and our honorary cabinet members. And they're doing an amazing job right now, and we are actually ahead, but we want to go further. And so when this is all said and done, what is the true economic impact to Northwest Roanoke? By year 2, over 102 new jobs. Again, these are family sustaining wage jobs that comes with benefits. You can see the critical services. These are all the services that will help disrupt the crime, the poverty in Northwest. And then an economic impact, you can see here is $30 million. And on an annual basis, we'll have wages upwards of $3.1 million that does not currently exist. So this is how we really disrupt the cycle of poverty. And for those of you who are in the medical field, you know, there's a term, the social determinants of health. And this plaza addresses all 5 of those social determinants of health. And that's exciting. Here's our timeline. We are on pace. In fact, we're a little bit ahead of time. It doesn't feel like it to me, guys, I tell you, because I thought we'd have the grocery up by the end of the year. I'm a little naive and a little bit impatient, but we are right on track on our timing. And so little man says, does anyone have any questions? There are 40 seconds left. So any questions for me? Yes. Yes, we are. Yes, so we're moving fully out of the entire facility. It's about 130,000 square feet. Our support services is going downtown. We're already there. And our mission services is going to move to 3rd lane by the airport. Thanks for mentioning that. Yes. We'll be full service, but we won't be selling nicotine and very limited alcohol.
I've lived in a multitude of communities, Salvation Army, seem to go around a lot. You know, what percentage of will sales, maybe it's by real packing?
In terms of overall sales?
Stores, you know, that's stores that big nonprofit. This is actually the first time I've seen a lot of women.
Oh, thank you.
Places that live.
Thank you.
Really, just curious, you know, like a.
And we don't have a national average because each of us is 154, and there's 154 different good ones. Everyone does it so different. But for us, you know, our retail is our mission. It stays in the community. So the store in Galax, those wages stay there, and the revenue generated gets put back into that community. Okay, well, guys, thank you so much. I appreciate it. I was just told by Mike, need to move on, so thank you. And I'll be here afterwards to answer any questions.
So when we think about impacts in our community, I think we've just heard about long-range, huge impact. It's delightful that we're nearby working toward the same goal, just delightful. So we have a check to thank you for your presentation. And surprising to me, you've decided that this check should go to Goodwill Industries of the Valley. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. So, as Richard said, he's going to stay after respond to questions, and I hope you take advantage of that. Next week, we're not meeting because it's Thanksgiving week. So in 2 weeks, we are meeting, and we'll be treated to an annual update of our Kiwanis Nature Park by Sherry Hartman, Rupe Cutler, Don Witt. No further business.
Don, how are you? Absolutely, yes, I'll send that out. Yeah. Oh, thank you. I'm not. Oh, yeah. Yeah, thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Hey, how are you? It's not the case.
Not a bad way to be. I say they're listening, or at least what you do. They're meeting in time. Yeah. Thank you. Stay tuned. Keep up. She was out last night. Took a really bad fall. She's home. A lot of pain right now. Come on tomorrow. Love tomorrow. Good. Thank you. Yeah, get the kids for Thanksgiving travel. Thank you. Stay tuned. Was out last night. We're not sure. I'm going to respect. You know, I'm at Walmart at 6 o'clock. Right now, second floor, city hall. Yeah. So we can't. The lights. I'm getting ready to make this. Yeah, me too. Yeah, right now in we have. Yeah, both. Maybe there is a blueprint of our whole. Plan. Yeah, I didn't plan this. Got it. Oh, yeah. Stay tuned. Ready, stay fun. You too.
I got one in each my part. I talked to Gene, we got all set out. David sent $5.
Oh, good. That's gonna work.